The sixth Sweden Major came to its epic conclusion with Ninjas in Pajamas versus Faze Clan. So let's talk about it. And yeah, you probably know the result, right? You probably watched it, but if not, you could see the score here. Ninjas in Pajamas took 2 maps and Faze took 3 maps. Of course, it was a full best 3 out of 5, and we did see all 5 maps. So let's take a look at the maps. Community predictions, a few more people thought Faze was going to win, and I mean, they were correct. Faze did take it in the end. And I think I didn't mention in the previous video, I forgot to say who I was going to predict. I did predict Faze, and I mean, for all you know, I actually didn't predict Faze, and I'm just telling you that because they won. But yeah, I was going with Faze, and I think you can probably piece that together based on the way I talked about them in previous videos. So anyways, let's look at the maps here. So yeah, Faze dominantly won the first map, 7-1 on Coastline, and then we went to 11-9 on Villa. Yes, there was infinite overtime in this grand final, so any of the maps that went to overtime, you have to win by at least 2 rounds, and finally Ninjas in Pajamas did that in the 20th round of Villa, and then Ninjas in Pajamas also won Chalet 7-4, and then Faze Clan win back-to-back 7-3s on Bank and Cafe. So the system for picks and bans in a best of 5 is pick, ban, pick, and then the last map remaining is the decider. So it was Ninjas in Pajamas that got to pick first, and they selected Coastline, so they got decked on their map of Coastline, and Faze chose Villa, and I guess Ninjas in Pajamas in the end won the map, so they each won each other's maps, and then we go to map 3. This is also Ninjas in Pajamas map, so now they win their own map. Bank was picked by Faze, and they win their own map, and then the decider finally goes to Faze. So let's talk about them a little bit more in depth, and Cyber was an absolute killer throughout the series. He ended up breaking the best of 5 kill record, which I guess I'm assuming also breaks the best of 3 kill record. Any match kill record, it's got to be the highest. He dropped, I think, 57 kills. And I think he also broke the LAN tournament, or well, the major record, probably at SI. The numbers were higher, but the major record, which only is four tournaments, I guess. The Mexico major, Paris major, and Raleigh major in this one. And right, so he set a couple of records, and so I'll note on each map what his score ended up being. So, okay, in the first map, Coastline, Faze win the first 3 rounds, and then Nip wins 1 back. And this is exactly the same thing that happened when Ninjas in Pajamas played against Rogue in the semifinals. Rogue took the first 3 rounds, and then it turns out that Ninjas answer back with the next 3, but in this case, they answer back with 1. So again, the first 4 looked the same. I think Faze won more decisively than Rogue won some of their rounds when they played. But anyway, started out 3-1. But then after taking that 1 round, Ninjas in Pajamas do not take another round. Faze just win the next 4 and win the map. Cyber goes 16-3, absolutely colossal. That's just a massive chunk of his kills for the series just in the 1 map. And I think this was his highest kill map. Okay, so Villa, what happened? Faze go 4-2 on their attacking half, so that's very good. I think at the end of this major, the Villa was the first or the second most defensive sided map. And actually, I mentioned in a previous video, I think it was the very previous video, about how Coastline was attacker sided a little bit more than defender sided. But at this major, it did end up being defender sided, I believe 51%. I saw the stats. So anyways, on Villa, yeah, Faze 4-2 attacking half, but then impressively, Ninjas in Pajamas answer back with their own 4-2 attacking half, sending us to overtime. And then in overtime, again, you have to win by 2 rounds. So if one team wins a round and then the next team wins a round, you just have to play another set of at least 2 rounds, and you just keep doing it in sets of 2s until somebody takes 2 in a row. 2 fresh rounds in a row, I guess. Not necessarily 2 in a row, because you could go up 8-7, but then if somebody goes up 9-8, the other team, you don't win. So of course, have to win by 2 rounds, as I said before. So, right, it went 20 rounds. At the end of the map, it was 9 attacker wins, and 8 of those were during regulation. So it was heavily attacker-sided. 2/3 of the regulation rounds went to the attackers, but then when we got to overtime, it was defenders winning every single round, except for the one that broke the trend. Ninjas in Pajamas finally won an attack, and then they won their subsequent defense, winning them the round. That was in round 19 and 20. And so, as I said, 9 attacker wins, so 11 defender wins in total, and only 4 of those coming in regulation, 7 of them in overtime. And everyone on Faze had between 11 and 14 kills, and everyone on Ninjas in Pajamas had from 13 to 19 kills. So very close all around, very close map, and then also close in terms of kills. I think it's the first map ever for all 10 players on the map to have at least 10 plus kills, and that makes sense. It's very difficult to achieve. That means there's at least 100 kills in the match, and they're all fairly equally distributed. And realistically, this is never going to happen unless you have this unlimited overtime thing, because in 15 rounds, you know, that's only 75 kills, right? So it requires you to... Or wait, no, that's ridiculous. That would assume a flawless round for the winning team every time. I suppose you could technically get up to 150 kills, right, in 15 rounds, but that's outlandish as well. So, you know, if it goes 15 rounds, maybe you're over 100 kills, but it's not always equally distributed and all this stuff. So anyways, yeah, everyone on 10 plus kills, and Cyber went 11 and 15 in this one. So a big step down from his 16 and 3, but he still got a decent number of frags. But I suppose that's a pretty low KPR, just like 0.55, as opposed to his 2 KPR from the previous map. Okay, moving on to Chalet now. And Faze went 4-2 once again on their attacking half, but you do expect maybe isn't the right word. So it's probably as good as you can hope for without being unrealistic. If you go 5-1 or 6-0, you like smashed, right? And it's not unwinnable. Like the other team, maybe they can 6-0 back. That's really unlikely. But a 5-1 on a heavily, you know, either side favored map, if you go up 5-1 on the favored half, the other team can reasonably answer back. It's probably less likely to happen than it is to not happen, but you know, it's still possible. So 4-2 is probably still a little bit in the attacker's favor. 3-3, I think the defenders probably won the half, but 4-2, okay, so they're happy with it. But then Nip win the next 5 rounds in a row. So Nip does not lose an attacking round. They win all 5, and they went from 2-4 to 7-4 to close out the map. And this was 7 and 8 from Cyber. So again, not a terrible performance, just -1, but not the nuclear performance we saw on Coastline. Then moving on to Bank, Faze went 5-1 on their defending half, and this is ruinous. So Bank, definitely an attacker favored map overall throughout the major, but I mean, these stats might skew it a little bit. But right, yeah, 5-1, that's just destructive. It's not like you're going 5-1 on attack where the other team might match that. 5-1 on defense, it's so unreasonable for the other team to do it. It's so likely that you just destroyed them and not took advantage of the side favoring of the map. Anyways, so they go 5-1, and then I guess in some combination, Ninjas get 2 rounds, but then Faze get their 2 rounds as well, taking 7-3, they win the map. Cyber goes 9-3, so a really good performance again here. It's almost a 1 KPR. It's not, you know, again, incredible like Coastline, but 9-3, you're not going to complain over the course of 10 rounds. And so at this point, you probably say the momentum is on the side of Faze. After the very first map, of course, you think like Faze might just dominate. They might just 3-0, you know, maybe Nip will get a few rounds, but Ninja Pajamas, they do fight back in the second map, and as unlikely as it does seem based on the 4-2 attacking half that Faze got, but then they go to overtime and whatnot, and they end up winning it. And especially also even more likely that Faze will win the series based on the Coastline result is that wasn't their map. But then when Ninja Pajamas answer back, you think that's got to be a little bit backbreaking. Of course, it might be a little bit more for Faze, that is. It might be a little bit more so if it had happened in the first map, if this wasn't just to even things up. But it's got to hurt playing 20 rounds and not winning the map, especially when you seem to have a very big advantage early in the map. So at that point, I thought, you know, maybe Ninjas will take it. And then we do see Ninjas take Chalet. So at this point, they have all the momentum on their side. They won 2 in a row. And of course, now they have to play on Faze's map, but they just have to win one of the 2 maps. But then Faze beat them down on Bank, right? So 7-3, and now going in the last map, it's the decider, and this is like an evenish map for the two teams, right? But Faze is carrying the momentum. They broke the streak of Nip, and they delivered a big beatdown. It's not like this was a close game at all. 7-3, it didn't go 7-5, didn't go to overtime, none of that. So again, going into Cafe, I'd say that the momentum is definitely on the side of Faze. Okay, so going in there, it comes down to, I believe, a 2v2, and then one of the 2 players from from Nip dies, bringing it to 1v2, and it's Julio versus, I don't recall who, but 2 players. Anyways, he gets a 1v2 clutch, and so that's like, maybe that shifts the momentum in your favor. It was a round that at certain points it looked like either team might win or one team might be advantaged, right? I mean, it was a 2v2. And the attackers were sort of running out of time, whatever. But again, like you want to stunt Faze's momentum, and a great way to do that is take an early round with a clutch. And so they do that, but then Faze wins the next 5 rounds in a row for a 5-1 attacking half. And again, Cafe, one of the more defender-sided maps in the pool, and I think at the major statistically it was up there. I think it was maybe like Villa. I don't want to say. I don't recall 100%. It's one of the more defender-sided maps though, just generally speaking, regardless of what happened at the major. But some of the really good teams seem to be really good at attacking this. I guess Faze were killer here, and Faze are just an incredible attacking team overall. But like when Space Station play this in the NAL, they're very good at attack on this map specifically, as they are in general. I think it's getting to the point in the game where attackers have good enough tools to deal with the defenders that very good teams are able to truly leverage those tools and make defender-sided maps traditionally look like attacker-sided maps. So, right, Faze wins 5 in a row. So 5-1 attacking half, and then Ninjas in Pajamas, they got to do something. I mean, they're down 5-1, and you expect to go like 3-3 or 4-2 on your defensive half. Like, they're way behind where you'd expect them to be. But again, like things could, the script could be flipped just like it was on Villa, where it was just heavily attacker-sided in regulation, and then maybe you push it overtime. It's even a little bit more dire than Villa because that was a 4-2 and this is a 5-1. But again, you got to believe it's possible. If it's not possible, then I mean you just lose. So you got to keep playing. Ninjas in Pajamas, they get 2 rounds. So you're thinking, you know, maybe they make the comeback. It's 5-3. You know, maybe they can make it happen. But then Faze just shuts them down. They win a round to put them on to match point, and then they win the next round to win the map 7-3. And Cyber goes 14-6 in this map, bringing his total up to 57. It was on this map that he broke the record. He needed what, like 49 or whatever the number was. Anyways, got to 57, so he well beat the record. And in some of these later rounds, he was going insane. Like he had back-to-back rounds where he got like 3Ks or 4Ks or something, and he was just going nuts. And maybe I didn't mention this earlier, just a little tidbit. Nip banned Oregon and Faze banned Clubhouse, if you're curious which team banned which of the remaining maps. So, okay, that's it for the map breakdown. I guess that tells you everything you need to know about the course of the game. Let's just look at the stats, I guess, for the players. And where are they? So, okay. As you can see, pretty mediocre performance from the middle of both teams, really. 1.02, 1.02, and then, right around 1 or sub 1. And Kamikaze kind of struggled. And it happens sometimes, playing Smokabon, and it can happen, especially being on the losing team. And yeah, it was just Cyber hogging the stats. Like, nobody did terrible on Faze. Cameraman and Astro down here a little bit, but not too atrocious. Cameraman went dead even. He did pretty poor on entry, though. And Astro struggled a little bit, but Bullet, Souls did fine. And Souls has been very impressive during this tournament. I mean, just as their most support player. I mean, Maverick Smoke. And positive KD here again, not much entry, tied for the highest cost with Cyber, and survival rate as well. Only 4 plants, that's crazy. Each team only had 5 plants actually over the course of the whole thing, so this was indeed just a slugfest. But again, yeah, Cyber just hogging all the stats. Like, what even is this ratio? It's like 1.5-ish, right? Or 1.6. It's somewhere around there. Pretty high. Entry, decent number of entry deaths, but +3 overall. It's fine. You're happy with it. Got a 1vx. And yeah, I guess the biggest thing to note is just the high number of kills, 57 over the course of, how many rounds was it actually? Let's see. 59 rounds. Okay. So yeah. And that makes sense. So slightly under a 1 KPR, but it is very hard to maintain a 1 KPR. 1 KPR is very impressive overall, but to do it over the course of 5 maps, I mean, that's hard to do. He started off with a 2 KPR, and then it just sort of went downhill. But regardless, incredible play from Cyber. MVP of the event, and I guess that's the other thing I want to look at. Let's just go back and glance at that. So these are the awarded players for the event. Of course, MVP of Cyber. Now Alamau and Yas had a higher rating, but neither of them even made it to the grand final, and you have to imagine that their stats might have deteriorated if they had. And Team 1 didn't even make it out of the quarters, right? So Yas all the way up through the semifinals, maintained a 1.35, extremely impressive. And Alamau, of course, you can't take away anything. 1.35 is still impressive, but again, much lower level of competition on average than these two faced, and especially Cyber, I guess. Probably having the Faze having the harder route to get to the grand final, you'd say, with NIP beating Space Station and Rogue, and Faze having to beat Damwon, Kia, and BDS. Yeah, I'd say that Faze was much more impressive overall. And in the end, it was the two teams that performed best in groups. Each went 5-1, Ninjas and Pajamas and Faze, that is, and just one loss to BDS for NIP, I believe, and that was after they were already qualified and secured first, so I don't think it didn't really matter. And then one loss to Rogue for Faze, when that was just a little bit of a, maybe they got overconfident. That was just coming into a fresh day after just double 7-0ing, 14-0ing. Very impressive. And then we also have Souls. EVP, extremely valuable player, I can only imagine is what that means. And then a couple of EVPs coming out from Ninjas and Pajamas as well. You see this really big drop off in stats, and probably there's like some players, yeah, there's a few players bridging that gap, but they weren't, like Empire didn't even make it out of group. Shaiko and his team got eliminated in quarters, so maybe you could have put him on here because Alamau only made it to quarters, but his stats are just so much higher. So of course it makes sense that he's here. So, okay. I suppose that's really all I need to cover here, right? I'll just scroll down the stats. If you just want to see him or whatever, just really quickly. And I'm planning to do a highlight video for the Mexico Major, and it'll have just things that I noticed over the course of the event, and I stopped to record them and stuff. And so again, it's not like a whole comprehensive thing. I'm not going to go back and capture a lot of moments, although there might be a couple things that I do want that I don't have. We'll see. But so I'll have that out hopefully the next few days. I have another video, really quick one that maybe I'll do today or tomorrow, but I'll talk about something. And I guess for the true ones who are still here, it's about Thinking Nade saying that he's looking for team, that he's a free agent and whatnot. He didn't technically say looking for team, I don't think, but he mentioned that he's an unrestricted free agent. So okay, that was the 6-week major, and I might, I'm not sure if I actually want to do a full recap of the whole event in one video. We'll see if I actually do that or not. And okay, with all of that being said, I will catch you in the next video.